Welcome back to the Helldiver build project. We've got a lot to update on. It's been about a month since I've given you guys a proper update on this build, and we're nearly done. And so let's go over what I've done. So right off, you can tell that there's been a major transformation since you've seen this airplane the last time. We've got a fuselage that has been covered in fiberglass. It has been fully painted. We've got the canopy installed. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's simply systematically work from one end of the airplane to the other. So we'll start with the tail. First of all, I'll say a big shout out to Horizon Hobby. My good friends there were able to come in a pinch and help me source some covering to get this covered. I thought I had enough covering for it, but I didn't. So big shout out to Horizon Hobby. The covering film it's so nice to work with, and I am not good at working with this covering film. But I got all the tail surfaces covered and installed, as well as the empennage. So the fairing from the fuselage to the very tip of the tail, that's just blocks of foam that you see here that are covered in the covering film. It was easy enough to cover, and the covering film sticks to it on a low temp setting. So why not, right? It saves me a little bit of paint, a little bit of hassle, and just get it done. Glued on with Gorilla Glue, and should hold just fine. So with that, I also was able to wrap up the tail. So because the tail is likely to get a little bit beat up, I didn't cover it in fiberglass too much. I want to see how much abuse it gets first before I do that. So I have a feeling that some chunks of foam might be coming with this tail sometimes. So anyway, we'll see. I have a very rough flying field. So like I said, it's a to be determined. I can always rebuild this, and I've got paint to blend it. But that is installed, and it's got a nice profile from the sides so that it looks scaled too. Moving on from there, like I said, the canopy is done. Glued in place. It's pulled away a little bit, but I'm okay with that. I want to try to see how the canopy glue holds up in sunlight to begin with. So we'll see. This back portion may have to be redone. That's fine. So what I need to do next is I need to paint the canopy, and I'm going to do a separate video on that because I have a new technique that I use now for painting canopies, and I want to share it with you guys. So having a dedicated video will help you be able to access it and refer to it later. So yeah, canopies are done. The front canopy is just a single piece. I used a piece of a poster board to cut out a template and then transfer that to a piece of plastic, fit it, trimmed it a little bit, and then scuffed it up, and it just canopy glue all around. No other special glue, just canopy glue, tape, hold it in place. The battery hatch is installed, and I've got magnets that hold it closed. Holds it closed very well. I've also got a mast installed, a radio mast. So it's just a stick of balsa that I painted, and it's attached to the wood down here, so it makes a nice handle for opening and closing the battery hatch, which is super convenient. From there, obviously we've got the nose all painted up, and all of the markings are on. Callie came in really quick and got these shipped off to me. The livery I'll go over at some point, but not right now. I'm just trying to do an overview. I installed some exhaust. So the exhaust is just little blisters. I cut it out of foam, covered it in one layer of finishing fiberglass and water-based polyurethane, 3 coats, cut away the excess, and covered it with paint. That's literally it. And then glued in place, and of course the black pipes are our favorite go-to exhaust pipes, shrink tubing. Really is easy of that. Just glued in with canopy glue, and it sets perfectly. With the wheels, or I guess the landing gear, you can see that there are gear covers that I installed. Now I did, actually, I'll insert a picture here. I did go with another route first before settling on these, and I decided against them because of 2 things. Number one, the proportions were a little bit wrong. And I could have corrected that, but at the same time, because the wheels sit so close to the leading edge of the wing, the part that covers the wheels is supposed to be curved. And I didn't want to mess with that. I didn't want to mess with that too much because I know that, again, my field is really rough and I didn't want those to get bent up. And yeah. So because of that, I just decided to eliminate the wheel part altogether and use balsa instead of ply for the top part to cover the leg, so that I could shape this a little bit with my covering iron and have it conform to the shape of the wing more. So that's really all. Using ply instead of using balsa instead of ply, and on top of that, eliminating the wheel cover. So I have clearance enough for the oleos to work just fine. It's just I wanted to simplify those covers because it needed something. It looked too spindly with just the oleos. So there we go. So the other thing, there's only one more thing that this airplane needs, and that is a spinner. Spinners are kind of a problem in our hobby, if you know. So this being a model with a 3-blade prop, you're limited in spinner selection by having a 3-blade prop. And then on top of that, the Helldiver uses a parabolic spinner. Most of the spinners that are commercially available are not parabolic, and they're not even remotely parabolic. So the look on the front end is important to me because of the visualization aspect of this airplane. It's important for me to get the standoff appearance of this model correct. So I'm working with someone, Dan Sponholtz, to try to get a 3D printable spinner. The printer will be doing the majority of the work. I'll be doing some finish work to smooth it out or whatever, but that is coming. And then other than that, I'm going to paint the canopy and be done with this model. So we're nearly there. Just 2 things left to accomplish. If you really have any other questions, I mean, all of this stuff has been covered on the channel before. I'm just happy to share it with you and show you that over the course of the month, if you look at the last video, this is what you can accomplish by just taking a few minutes a day here and there. You know, I'm talking literally about no more than half an hour that I've had time to work on this model, as well as other models, the Transavia air truck, the Curtiss Falcon. I'm prepping for another build as well. And so all of these things, I've got a limited amount of time, and this is what you can accomplish. Just peck at it a little bit at a time, and you'll have a model before you know it. It's really exciting. I've done some basic taxi testing in the street with this, and it's great. I'm almost there where I can do the maiden flight. I'm excited to take you along with me for that too. So stay tuned. And what more can I say? Continue working or pecking at your flying works of art.